Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. It's pre-Thanksgiving training. Thanksgiving training's on Friday at 11 a.m. Please join me. Learn about gratitude. We'll have a great Thanksgiving video and Q&A. BYOQ. Bring your own questions. I'll bring the answers. Welcome, everybody. Let's get the questions in here today. Let's get warmed up. Jake, welcome. Colleen, welcome. We got a good day full of great people and looking forward to getting started here. Let's answer a few questions and then we'll bring on Stephen Benedict and see what our professional track star has to say for today. If you could have a one-on-one conversation with anyone, who would you pick? Jesus Christ or Einstein. Those are two really interesting people to me. I think I could change the world if I could talk to them. Do you have a favorite Thanksgiving memory? Wow. I love Thanksgiving. It is my holiday. I try to celebrate it every day. And there's so many. I can't even think about, whether it was my whole family all there. Look, Team David Meltzer waking up. Very good. Have just pinned below. If you want exercises, guides, books for free, how to pitch, how to sell, any of those guides, my books, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or text me in my community at 949-298-2905. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Let's keep here. Do you have solar panels on your roof? Yes, I do, and I highly suggest everyone that has a high electric bill like I do to do so. What a great, great thing to have. Absolutely have it. Bet lesson learned from Joel Osteen. Not a setback, it's a setup. Second is how to perform. The guy's the best performer I know. So he's amazing. Amazing performer and great messaging. Help a lot of people, make a lot of money, have a lot of fun. You got it, my friend. Thank you, boss man. All right, keep it coming. We're going to bring on Stephen Benedict in about 2 minutes. Hopefully he's here. I think I see him here. Welcome. What do you do when motivation goes down? Motivation gets you up, gets you back started. You need to transition the motivation into inspiration. So use that energy that motivation has created to get started, get back started, get restarted, and use that to clear the interference between you and what already exists, the interference between you and the greatest sort of sublight, love, and lesson. So how do we do that? We suffer. The definition of suffering is we have a process to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything that we do. All right, let's bring on my dear guest here, Benedict, professional track athlete, founder of Fostering Success, and he's going to promote his new book, Good Morning Superstar. Good morning, Superstar.
Hey, how are we doing, Dave?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me on again.
There's so many levels that I love the title of your book, Good Morning Superstar, because, people don't look for the superpowers or the superstar in others, and they don't look for the superpower or the superstars in themselves, more importantly. How much of that duality and relationship and conflict do you deal with in your book?
Um, the approach in which I went with this book, I really wanted to take it's my first book too. So, it was a learning process for me and going through the ins and outs of everything and finding out, having conversations with
You should
publishers.
have asked me for help. You don't watch the Dave Meltzer videos. Ask for help.
You know what? Now I know the next two that are coming out, you are my main resource.
All right.
So, but yeah, I really wanted to take a very simplistic approach to it and make it doable for everybody to fit into their lifestyle in a very easy, approachable manner. So what I did is I broke down the days. It's a 90-day book, and every day is a chapter, and basically it's broke down into, you have a quote by, some of the sharpest minds around, then a parable in which I wrote, in which how that quote has impacted me, how I've utilized it. And then there's two questions following that parable, an empowering question and then a take action question, because and I'm sure you agree, is that I believe that the better questions we ask ourselves, the better results we get. So it's just about setting the tone for your day and setting up the right mindset and doing it the first 20 minutes of your day, because that's when we're the most absorbent and when we're most, really being able to shape and mold and meld our mind for that day, and to just put us in the right path. And I think it's very much needed nowadays. We need to set those habits up, and with everything else that's going on, we need to set the tone for ourselves.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people don't know that I'm a huge track fan. I ran track. I pole vaulted as well in college, 4.9 meters. Once again, proving I'm an average Division III athlete. Although I think in pole vault, I was an above average pole vaulter. In Division III, I was an average Division I pole vaulter. Anyway, the fostering success business that you have, this national organization, I see so many different lessons that I learned in track. And I love track for two reasons. One, it taught me to compete against myself. There's no better sport in college, high school that will teach someone to compete against themselves. And because you could be at one meet and feel as if you literally, are Carl Lewis. And then you go to a different type of meet, and you've been to the biggest ones in the world, like the Olympic trials and Penn relays and et cetera. And I had never experienced more than that in pole vault, where nobody was even close to me in Division III events. Then I'd go to, Mount Sac with all the UCLA pole vaulters, and all of a sudden I'm average. What lessons have you carried over from track as far as individual? And then even in track, most people may not even know this. Everybody aggregates their best performance into the team, and you get points. And so it's almost reflective of life, but it absolutely is, to me, great lessons for people to foster success.
Yeah, I think right off the bat, the first thing that comes to mind for me is, one, there's definitely resilience in it, endurance, but most of all, I think that translates to life across the board. Is everything is run your own race, and we're in specific lanes on the track. And if I wind up looking at the runner next to me, or trying to maintain a pace in which, hey, let's say they're a faster starter, and I'm not such a fast starter, and my strengths are in the latter part of the race, where I'm more strength endurance and speed endurance, then I have to rely on that part of the race and know that I'll make up the ground. And I think that translates very well to life, in this, in comparison of, not comparing ourselves to other people and where they're at in their specific point in their life, and what they've accomplished and what you've accomplished. That comparison factor is such a big issue, that we're always thinking that we're behind the eight ball, and because somebody else has accomplished something else. And we need to stay in our own lane and run our own life race, and be satisfied where we are on that particular day, doing the best we have with those resources on that particular time.
Yeah, and it also is great in the aspect of success fostering, that we need to set goals and have something to look at. And what I love about track is it's very quantitative, and my personal best, my personal record, world record, that we now have what I call the catalyst in which to expand our limitlessness. Because most people, they can't imagine, and if you look back at some of the, like a 20-foot pole vault record, if you look back when Bob Gutowski in the 50s was, at Occidental College where I went, clearing, 14 or 15 feet, and you said someday, they'll clear 20 feet, he would say that was humanly impossible, just like Roger Bannister was told the human body couldn't run a 4-minute mile. I love the fact that it shows us, to foster success, that we need to have people to surpass, or we need to have numbers. We need to have some sort of thing that allows us to be catalyst. What is it you think that limits ourselves, that we just can't fathom infinity, that, what we're looking at is not merely what we're capable of?
I think it's our self vision. It definitely goes back to our self vision of, trying to be those imaginative thinkers, and think outside the box, and know that, if, okay, now we have some of these bars that are set, and now we have some of these records that have been broken, and things can be done, and human potential hasn't been reached. We're still scraping the surface of it, and advancements are still being done, and how we, just human optimization, and getting the most out of our mind, our body, and our spirit. And when we put all those things in alignment, the sky's the limit. And I think that, we put ourselves in a box, and that's due to society and due to everything else that's going on, and all the restraints, and it dampers on our human potential as an overall, and it really smears our overall vision. So I think we need to get out of those boxes and really open up our eyes and say, hey, if he can do this, I can do this. And I just need to put in a little sacrifice. I need to put in the hard work, and I need to have the vision and stay within that vision, and don't accept outside judgments of anybody else telling me what I can and can't do. That's just them telling themselves that they can't do it and portraying it and projecting it onto you.
And all these lessons, are being applied through fostering success to a much needed area that needs to be rethought. Obviously, so many of our huge institutions, as we had the president hacker show us, there's a lot of holes in our system. So, we need to fix some things here. But foster care is absolutely one that's critical. Education, which is aligned as well with foster care, is critical. And yet you are not just applying, Good Morning Superstar to the general masses. You're utilizing humility, sacrifice, unconditional love, joy, hope as foundational principles to build a future for all of us by taking those at risk, those most needing help, and providing them the subjective empowerment of these critical principles. What makes the Fostering Success program so successful at doing this?
Oh, I mean, first and foremost, the approach in which we take, one, it's the people that I have on board, the very sharp minds that I have on board for it, and their heart for it, and the passion for it to make a difference. We're all about reformation. We're all about making tangible changes, and we're all about moving the needle in some, being involved in decision making in Congress, and having direct correlations with like Senator Bass, Karen Bass, who's the senator for fostering the caucus foster. And also, I'll be involved in those decisions next year. I'll be on one of the panels for congressional dinner, to really talk about bill changes and making those changes, and what those changes look like, and how we're going to be involved in that and have our finger on that. And I think that that's where the trickle effect happens. But then also having the programs that are in place to trickle down all the way down into the families, into the homes. So having programs that we're building, like social emotional programs, and having programs for skill development for aging out youth to get them prepared for real life. Because once they leave foster care, it's just they're out there and they need the resources in order to sustain a healthy life, and to know which way and what vision looks like for them, and to use that potential. And then to develop leaders, good leaders. So there's a lot on the plate and a lot happening, and I'm very excited for next year to come. And this is just kind of a buildup of things, and that's why I released this book during November, because November is National Adoption Month, and all the proceeds are going to impact foster families and aging out youth for a sustainable holiday.
It's amazing. And Good Morning Superstar, by the way, deals with, how from the greatest and most creative minds, these morning routines. And I think at a bigger level, what I'm hearing from you, from Fostering Success to Good Morning Superstar, is how important it is to get off to the right start, to get a fast start out of the blocks, to get your first jump over the minimum height, or whatever it may be. And that's super critical within the foster care system today, is we can give new starts, new beginnings, and new hope. And if everyone, as it translates over, can give themselves every day a new start, new hope, and new beginning by having a good morning, and remembering that not only are there superpowers in other people that we need to seek, but within ourselves. I appreciate it. I can't wait to finish the book. Congratulations on everything you're doing. Please ask me for help. I'm here for you, my friend. You can reach Stephen Benedict at Stevie, STEVIEY_B, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
And where else can they find the book and you?
They can find the book anywhere that books are sold: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, across the platforms, and my websites and my Instagram, which you just gave out. Everything is really accessible, and I'm very, very approachable. So if you have any questions, please reach out and I'll respond. Make sure you go get yourself a book of Good Morning Superstar.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm very grateful for you to take the time to come on with me. Grateful for you to be a friend, and I'm grateful for hearing from you for next time you need help. Most importantly, you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm grateful, and I know so are you. Thank you.
I appreciate you very much.
Take care, Steve. Awesome. All right. Good morning, superstars. It's Wednesday morning. Training's coming up. This week's training is Thanksgiving training. That's right. BYOQ. Bring your questions about anything that to be grateful for, and I will answer them. I'll bring the answers. 949-298-2905 to join my text community. Just text me. Join our community. A bunch of like-minded people, positive people trying to effectuate change to consistently every day, persistently without quit, pursue your own potential. Ken Jocelyn, good morning, my friend. Good morning, superstar. Ken Jocelyn, good morning. David at dmeltzer.com. If you want my books for free, I'll sign them. I'll ship them to you. I'll pay for shipping. I'm not giving a free book and then charging you $10 to ship it. I'll ship it and pay for it for you. My exercises, my guides from selling to pitching. I got the pitch show you haven't tried out for. Bloomberg, going to air it in January. We have Amazon. It'll be on there. You got to try out for 2-minute drill. If you have any $50,000 of cash and prizes each episode, over $50,000. How are you, June? Good to see you. Let's answer a few more questions. I am grateful for you, Ken. Thank you. What a man. All right, next question. What are you most thankful for this year? The lessons I've learned. I'm most grateful for the amount of lessons that I've learned. Now, I know that I won't remember every lesson and I got the power to access them, but I'm so grateful for the lessons that I've learned and all the people that have helped me learn them in a variety of different ways, and anticipated and unanticipated, expected and unexpected, nice or not nice. Thank you. Thank you for the lessons, everyone. And I just have to reach out. Colleen's on here. And you made my day, Colleen. I'm so grateful and so happy for you. The biggest compliment that I can have is to see someone else's success. It makes my heart melt. And Colleen is super successful, and I'm so proud of her, and it makes me feel so good. Elevate others to elevate yourself. Congrats, Colleen. You are kicking butt. My whole team, by the way, as well. But thank you, especially Colleen. Hello, David. When are you guys answering emails? I answer them personally, David at dmeltzer.com. So because I answer them personally, they're sometimes cut and paste emails that I've sent if do quickly get to you. If it's a canned question, I'll give a canned answer. Short answers are my specialty. And trying to get deep into trying to hit and allow you to be more interested than interesting. But David at dmeltzer.com. Please email me. Jake Share, you are right. All right, there you go. How to focus on the task you don't like when you keep distracting and avoiding it. Well, first of all, cut the fingernails on your right hand first if you're right-handed. Do the tough stuff first, man. We don't mind hard. We mind long. So why prolong it? Right? Get to it. You don't mind hard. You just don't like long. So cut the fingernails on your right hand first. And then practice refocusing. Refocus is a muscle. You have to understand time and its context to understand what I mean by refocusing, because we can only focus in on one thing at a time. We can only focus in on one thing at a time. So faster than the speed of light, we can refocus, which is why we can focus on the past, the present, or the future. In other words, time travel with focus. But what are we really doing? We're refocusing at an instant of an inkling of time. And so although our minds, bodies, souls cannot fathom how quickly we're refocusing, we can only focus in on one thing at a time. Why is this significant? Because you're not multitasking. You're not. You're refocusing. And if you practice refocusing, like for example, I'm doing emails while I'm doing the live, and I've been doing this because I can refocus faster than your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and touch can see me. I can refocus back and forth. And it seems as if I'm multitasking, and I can do that with 4 or 5 things because I practice refocusing. It's a muscle, and I'm going to be the Carl Lewis of refocus. Way more valuable than running a 9.400 meters or whatever the record is now, 9.94, 9.89 or 81. I don't know, Ben Johnson or whoever else has beat that. Oh, I know Usain Bolt. What am I talking about? I'm a sports guy, 9.8 something. Anyway, forget that. I'm way faster. I'm going to be the Usain Bolt of refocus, and so should you. Practice refocusing. If you want more information on this, email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or text my text community, 949-298-2905. All right, let's keep it rolling. All right, mind walking us through a typical day schedule for yourself, being a student of your calendar. All right, we'll go through this one time. We do have a video on this. I'm going to tell everybody today, I'm going to do a beta. If you want to go to search.dmeltzer.com, you'll get the Dave Meltzer beta search engine where you can find every video. So you could type in there, student your calendar, and find every video I've done on that and watch those videos. So search.dmeltzer.com, check it out. But here, listen to me. Here's how it goes. I'm gonna do it quickly. You got to have 2 routines. One's a adaptable routine for when things are not as you anticipated. And in that adaptable routine, I have a minimum of an hour a day of my health, a minimum of 30 with my wife, a minimum of 30 with my 10-year-old son, minimum of 2 minutes a day with my daughters. I asked for 5, they gave me 2, minimum of 1 minute with my mom. I tell my mom every day that I'm healthy, happy, I love her, and appreciate her, that she has value to my life. Beyond the adaptable routine, I wake up every morning because my routine starts at 9 p.m. tonight. My tomorrow starts today. I have an unwinding routine. Unwinding is the warm up to sleep. It's the warm up to an 8-hour workout every day. That's the most important because it has least interference to everything that you're connected to, the most powerful source of light, love, and lessons. All right there, 9 p.m. I start my unwinding routine. I have to be passed out by 11 so I can what? Wake up for 4 a.m. Good morning, superstar. I meditate for 20 minutes, finding my highest frequency. My highest frequency. I no longer live the myth of Sisyphus. I don't push a boulder to the top of the hill all day long, just have it roll down for my 4 a.m. wake up. No, I'm at my highest frequency. Neutral is your highest frequency. I'm at peace. I use that as a baseline for the entire day to plateau and grow instead of living the Camus myth of Sisyphus. And I then, after the 20 minutes, get ready for 10 minutes and then utilize the minimum 1 hour to go take care of my health, to work out. I then spend an hour and a half on doing research by studying my calendar, paying attention to, giving attention to. That's right, the coincidences that I want, using a lens of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, all in order to affect what I'm doing. Then I spend an hour of family time uninterrupted. Then I go ahead and execute on the student of the calendar. Once again, finish up the day with an hour and a half with my family uninterrupted, then another hour and a half of studying and optional time, and then my unwinding routine starts. That's how I run through it. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. If you did, watch the replay, take notes, or use search.dmeltzer.com to find that video. Search.dmeltzer.com. All righty, we're moving along. Welcome, everybody. See, I'm using my multitasking. If you got an email from me, it's really me doing it. All right, let's take one quick question. As we move forward, what is one advice you can give a person who is living in a country that has experienced 30 years of corruption? Enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, Don't worry about other people, what's missing, what you don't want, or what other people think. Focus in on consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. All right, I am looking for Dr. John Jaquish. He is the inventor of the X3 bar, which I use, by the way. Weightlifting is a waste of time. This guy is super smart. And he's going to save you not only a ton of time, but it's going to save you from yourself. And let's go ahead. There he is. Of course, he's on time. This is one of the smartest people I know. Here he goes. Dr. John is in the house. My friend. There he is. Superpower. What's going on?
Here I am. Just so everybody else can get it right, it's Jaquish.
Thank you.
Nobody gets it right. So
my nickname is literally. I've screwed up so much this week. First, I got to tell you this, John. We'll get to this.
It's not a mistake. I have to correct everybody.
I please do. But it's
like P.T. Barnum. Love me, hate me, spell my name right.
Jaquish. I'm not going to blow that again. Yeah, last week on Tuesday, I said, hey, welcome to Wednesday. Some guy left the live to go take his trash out because he thought it was Wednesday. He came back. He's like, dude, it's not Wednesday. I just left your live to take the trash out. I
That's
called
awesome.
a lady, Brittany, almost half the interview, and she did not correct me. So I just continued to call her Brittany the entire time. Anyway, you know, you and I met, and since I met you, my life has changed. So I know that you're a significant person because I've been in fitness and nutrition for a long time as a business. You know,
Right.
I did it for fun and, you know, was an average Division III athlete. But more importantly, you know, when I met Dr. Connolly from MetRex and he taught me about bioactive dairy proteins and about how calories were different than fat, and it changed my whole world. But you created a new nuance to working out to me that was like, I don't have to spend a minimum of an hour a day lifting weights. I'm actually getting less results if I do this the right way. And that message, you know, carries to my whole life that, hey, be more interested than interesting. Don't just do what you think makes sense or what other people tell you. Find what really works, and what you teach really works. Can you share with everybody kind of what the methodology and philosophy is behind X3?
Yeah, we change the resistance so that it is in accordance with our output capacity. So when I'm at the bottom of a chest press movement, I might be holding 100 pounds. Middle, I'm holding 300 pounds. When I'm nearing the top, I'm at 240 pounds. 540 pounds. So, yeah,
And
like
how does time play into this? Because you don't spend much time working out.
now you exhaust really quickly. Like the only job you have when you exercise is to trigger a change. And I didn't go about it to like save people time, but it just so happens that the body's really efficient. When you take the body to fatigue, to the maximum level of fatigue, the changes happen. It doesn't need to be forever.
And you taught me also the line I used earlier. You know, people like hard. People don't mind hard; they hate long, and
Yep,
that's no more applicable than what you're doing. That
that's
look, if
right.
you know, hey man, give me 10 minutes of everything you got, compared to give me, you know, 10 hours of 20% of what you got. You know,
Right.
which one do you want?
Right. And I look at people who don't really work out to fatigue, but they do a lot of sets. They're just throwing their time away. Like, I don't know. I value my time highly. And I see them not stimulating very much. And, so they don't get much growth out of it.
And
And they
how
don't, yeah, it's just inefficient.
Yeah, and how does rest play into part? You know, I would think that through the exhaustion of, you know, your muscles, that rest would be even more critical than someone that was just doing continual movement. You know, someone that walks every day probably doesn't need to recoup or regenerate as much as someone that's
Right.
going to pure exhaustion.
Right. That's a great question. There's a lot of confusion around that subject. Muscle biopsy studies tell us 36 hours in a given muscle group that's when protein synthesis is complete. So like there are people who are like, you need to work out one body part each week, and there are other people that are like, no, I do the whole body every day, and overtraining is like a joke; it doesn't exist. Neither is true. We know it's 36 hours, so we tell people to wait 48 just in case there's maybe some muscle damage. By the way, muscle damage is in opposition of growth. So when like you have damage, the whole like micro tear thing, no, that actually means you grow less, not more. So that can create an inroad in recovery ability, but not with X3. That would be with like regular weight training.
And cardio, how does, you know, always conflicting and counterintuitive thoughts about cardio and muscle exhaustion, how does cardio interplay within the context of what you teach?
Well, I mean, you've seen the title of my book, Weightlifting is a Waste of Time, and so is cardio. So
I'm
what
glad you
I'm
could hit that
saying,
softball out of the park.
yeah, it's good. Thanks for the underhand there. Um, when I wrote this, and right now, and I still feel the same way. I don't really think there is such a thing as cardio. It's just really lousy strength training. that doesn't really have any results. And in fact, cardiovascular system, like cardiac health, you can influence your cardiac health to a greater degree by strength training. So the idea that there is such a thing as strength and cardio, and they're very different, they're not. I mean, one can be aerobic and one can be anaerobic, but they're still burning muscle glycogen without storing more muscle glycogen. Actually, you store less the more chronic cardio you do. And also, you're upregulating cortisol. Cortisol does two things. It sacrifices muscle and preserves body fat. So you stay fatter longer.
So it does actually, is counterintuitive what it does to our fat.
Well, I don't know if it's counterintuitive. It makes perfect sense when you think about the priorities of the human body. Like, you're trying to go a long distance with a very small amount of energy. So what's the body going to do to accommodate that? It's going to shrink your engine, which means get rid of muscle, right? Like an economy car. Economy cars don't have V12 engines, right?
Right.
So, shrink the engine. It's going to increase the storage. Economy cars have big gas tanks. What's the gas tank of your body? Your fat gut. So it's going to make sure that you stay fatter longer. So it's delivering the opposite. And I don't think it's counterintuitive. I think people have just been told the wrong thing their whole lives. And it's just time that we actually learn the science, because if you ask most exercise scientists, they'll tell you the same thing I'm saying. This research has been out for 40 years. It's just the fitness industry, which is really the gym membership sales industry, they don't care. As long as people show up and they get on a treadmill and they think they're getting what they want,
right.
Doesn't matter.
And from my experience of working with Dr. Connolly, for example, I think it started even before the gym fitness industry. It was, it literally was losing weight industry, which was, and then they went about it an entirely different way. And then they added in exercise and created the infomercial. I'm friends with Jake Steinfeld, and, that infomercial, the Suzanne Summers, these types of devices. And then, but the science had always been there. And ironically, the top echelons were utilizing these types of things. But I was amazed when I ran Lee Steinberg, the sports agency, and we had the greatest athletes in the world. Carl Lewis, Lennox Lewis, I can list out the quarterbacks, but I mean, I'm thinking real athletes, Olympic to
I remember Carl Lewis. I saw him get first place, sort of.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I look back going, gosh, a lot of these extraordinary athletes bought into the commercial BS, and they should have been going into the hospital talking to the scientists and asking, how does muscle really work? Like, do you have any biopsy studies that show how to recover? I mean, think about how long it took for recovery to be an important issue with professional athletes.
Just to be a topic.
Right, for professional athletes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, professional athletes, they've got it pretty good now. There's no like cousins of the head coach that just get the strength coach job anymore.
Now, because the guys like you,
they're qualified people now, and right.
You work. You work. Sorry,
I don't think it was necessarily because of sports scientists. I think it was because there were some scientists that were like really trying to get the world's attention, and you can have a better message, and if you don't have a budget to get that out there, like, nobody will know about it. Like I told you, 40 years. I reference a meta-analysis in the book that has 100 studies that basically show there's no such thing as cardio. Now, it doesn't word it like that. That's my sort of aggressive take on it. Now, if you want to be a marathon runner, you got to run marathons. But I mean, don't think you're going to have like a model's physique by doing that. You're going to be what's called skinny fat. You'll hold extra body fat, and you'll lose a lot of muscle. So then I see people like go into a gym and they do both. Like it's opposing goals. Like when you do weight training, you're upregulating growth hormone. When you do cardio, you downregulate growth hormone. So what'd you get? Nothing. You got nothing. Yeah,
that's why you got to read.
Just spin their wheels. They just like standard fitness, just a waste of time. And why do so many people defend it? Like I have an incredible amount of trolls. I'm sure you imagine this. And they're defending standard fitness, And I'm like, with fitness, depending on how you want to look at it, what is it? Like, I mean, how many people are really fit? How many people walk in the room and everyone goes, wow, like that guy's really in good shape? Maybe 1 in 6,000.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, look,
like
let's
this
be
is the
honest.
most failed human endeavor of all time.
Politics, nutrition, fitness, finance. Let me
Right.
just tell you why people defend it. Because if it's going to take money out of their pocket, they're going to defend it. And you and I both know it's money driven.
Oh yeah, yeah. Most sort of
Or ignorance.
misleading messages are. It's like, why is all the vegan research funded by Kraft and Nabisco? It's because Kraft and Nabisco know that vegans aren't eating vegetables. They're eating cake and cookies and crackers. And because they don't have any nutrient dense food, they're eating that stuff all day long. Right. So there's a
You're
right.
a genius, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
I appreciate all your insight and honesty. Weightlifting is a waste of time, and so is cardio is an absolute must because health is the number one priority. Like I tell people all the time, I call my mom every day just to, number one, tell her I'm healthy. And
Yeah.
after I met you, you changed my life. What really changed my life, though, John, is your arms. I said, come on, man, if I get arms like that in 10 minutes a day, I'm all over it. Look at those. That's for real. So thank you
They're
for the
not that
insight. Go buy the
impressive.
book. It'll change. It'll save your life. It won't change your life like it has mine. It probably saved my life. Dr. John J. Quesh, is that how you say it?
Jake Wish.
Jay
You're getting
Quish.
closer. You're
I'm
getting
getting
closer every
better.
time.
By the third interview, bro, I'm gonna have it down. Dr. John J. Quish. Here, thank you so much. Reach back out. Go buy that book. Weightlifting is a waste of time.
It's on
So is
Amazon.
cardio.
Yep.
That's the best. On Amazon. Check it out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
You got it, brother. Take care. Great insight. Like things that you believe your whole life can be turned upside down with proof. So that's why we're limitlessness is, you think certain things are the way they are. Think things you don't know what you don't know, and look and seek and search for people like Dr. John J. Quish at Dr. J. Quish. Check him out. Buy his book on Amazon. It will change or save your life. Weightlifting is a waste of time, and so is cardio. There goes my minimum of an hour a day on my health. I got to figure out another thing to do after the 10 minutes of exhaustion, stretching, balance, yoga, probably all those. I'll get to ask him next time. All right, Deep. Let's see here. Bring on my friend. Where are we looking at here? Deepika is yeah, she's here. Hold on. Where are we? I'm looking. Please request to go live with me because I have tons of people coming through here, and I want to get to my last visitor, special guest, as we call them. What's going on, everybody? I'm trying to find it. Jakey Bakey, we're having problems. It's there we go. Oh, they changed the name. They gave me the wrong name. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. All righty. Whew.
Hello.
There. Hi, there you are.
Hi.
You
Gotta love technology, right?
It's like my first time using Instagram.
How are you?
Good. Did you get a chance to catch Dr. John J. Quish?
I did. I got the last part of it. He's incredible. Yeah.
It's really interesting. I love things that shift the entire paradigm of my perspective. Like I one of the things I talk about is I wanted to live to 111. I was born on January 11th, and Diane Cannon, who I share my Lakers seats with, said, literally in tears, "Why are you limiting yourself? What if technology allows us to live to 1,000 or 10,000 years? You're manifesting dying at 111." And in my mind, it shifted like my whole perspective of, wait a second, my reality is wrong. This is an infinity that we live in. And, speaking of living too, you're the founder of Live Tinted. And I'd love to give a little bit of background, if you wouldn't mind, on Live Tinted.
Yeah. So Live Tinted is a sort of the birth child of something I've experienced my whole life. I grew up in Texas, and I'm actually back in Texas now. I moved from LA back to Texas. The pandemic, I feel like, just shifted everyone's sort of mindsets. And
good tax
up
move.
here,
Good tax move as well.
It's also a great tax move. Yes, that is very true. Well,
This is a business show at times.
by the way, the craziest part about that is everyone from LA has decided to come back to Texas. So it's not as, in terms of prices, like I'm looking at homes in Austin, it has completely shifted thanks to the shift that's happening down south. So
Oh yeah,
anyways,
I like to own a private school in Austin right now. They're taking in like 4 kids a week from California.
yep, yeah. It's interesting to see the shift. But so yeah, I grew up here in a community where I saw a very specific standard of beauty, blonde hair, blue eyes everywhere I looked, and really tried to change myself to look like that as well. I dyed my hair blonde. I got the blue contacts. Like I tried to transform myself. And I promised myself that one day when I grew up that I would create a brand that sort of shifted that paradigm. And so everything I did, when I went to college, I majored in marketing. I worked at the corporate side of the beauty industry. And then I had a video go viral. I used a red lipstick under my eyes to hide these dark circles that you're seeing right now. And it went viral and it changed my entire life. And after 3 years of doing the whole beauty influencer thing, my whole goal and life sort of purpose felt like I was meant to create this brand called Live Tinted, which launched as a community platform first to really showcase diverse beauty around the world. And then we just most recently launched, I guess a year ago. It is wild what can happen in 1 year, but it's been a year. We launched our own physical products now. So it's been a wild journey.
It's so interesting. So much can happen in 1 year, especially if it's 2020.
Yep.
Now, you know, to point out to all the entrepreneurs and people out there that are building their own brands, personal, professional, and product service oriented brands,
Yeah.
there is a staging that occurs. And I see a consistent, I deal with so many people, successful, wonderful people like yourself that started off with the intention of building first started off with the intention of changing something. They saw a need. You know, my baby's flying out of the car seat, so I did this, or you know, I wanted to be this type of person and it really affected or depressed me or whatever. And then they build a community around it, which is, I think, the biggest advantage from when I was your age. Is that
it's funny you say that, because when I went to investors originally and did the pitching, they didn't get it. It was like almost like the mindset was so archaic, and like, why invest in creating a community first? You already have a following. Why put money towards that? And to me, I knew it was critical to create an audience that had the same commonalities and interests before creating the product. And it's interesting how some people don't always get that.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason is it was so expensive to build a community of any size, to have any, and I, coming from the generation of probably people you were pitching to, probably the look and feel of the people you're pitching to. Hopefully I have a little bit more hair than they do, because they're all stressed out. Those guys, they're scarce, stressed out guys that don't get it. But I still invest, you know, majority of everything into building my community, because I know one thing to hold true: there'll never be another time that'll be this inexpensive to build such a huge community. And people have lost perspective of community size, meaning, you know, they throw around 8 million people. You know, I don't throw around my videos that get, you know, 250,000 views. I tell my wife all the time, do you realize every day, like, I don't know, my last number, 43 million people in a week watch something of mine. I'm like, do you know how many stadiums that is? Because I still have the traditional sense. This is my community. And look, once we have the community, then we can know what the needs of the community are, and I can figure out how to create value for my community. And I love your story because it shows people how we build not only a community, but how we impact change and how we can make money, help people, and have fun with our lives. You're the classic example. What's one of the biggest lessons that you learned in building a community that, you know, you would tell yourself starting over? You know, this is, you know, if I'm going to build a community first, this is what I should have done, or I would have done, or perspective I should take.
Well, I think it's a few things. One thing that I'm going through right now, even as we're continuing to grow and build, is to stay focused. It is so hard for me as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you go through this also, to, you see business ideas and things that are happening, and it's like, we can grow bigger. We can go get this. There's these shiny light bulb things happening. And the reason I'm bringing this specific thing up is that this morning I've had maybe 4 conversations with some advisors, mentors, and investors of ours being like, hey, what if we pivoted to this? And what if we did this? It could be so much bigger and we can make a bigger impact. And that to me really is, like, truthfully, I think at the end of the day, and I'm sure you've experienced this at a certain point. I'm not there yet, but once you get to a point where you've made a certain amount of money, it really does come back to a larger purpose and impact that you want to make in the world. And for me, that's what like guides me. Is like, there's this impact I want to make, and I think, like, how can we get bigger? So my point is that I think you always have to remember that niche audiences can grow into mass audiences, and to really, really focus in on that niche. And, you know, when I first started this, I remember, again, pitching to investors and saying, as a South Asian woman, there's 2 billion of us in the world, South Asian people, and they felt like the audience wasn't big enough. And because they were focused in on the US market and thinking of the population of South Asian people here. And here's the deal, like, what was cool about that, even though I disagree with it being not a large enough audience to create a brand around, was that it did make me think bigger. It did make me think there is an opportunity for Live Tinted. We all have a tint to our skin, right? So how can we bring people together around this commonality of just representation and feeling like this sense of belonging, which we all want at the end of the day. So I think back to your actual question, when you're starting a community platform, it's really important to stay focused and don't think that a niche audience is a small audience.
Not at all. And you have been able to find your frequency. You capture it exquisitely, amplified effectively, and it's being perpetuated for the common or greater good. Because, like you said, you know, I live tinted. You know, I one of the greatest stories about living tinted for someone like me, because my daughter's peachy white. And and so she had this cutest thing she ever said. She came home from Martin Luther King Day. They closed her school. My mom had a private school, so it was open. And I said, "What'd you learn at Martin Luther King Day?" She said, "Oh, thank God for Martin Luther King." Why? Because without him, I would not be born. I'm like, "Oh, what the heck are they teaching you at school? Why won't you be born?" She said, "Well, you know, Dad, you're brown and Mom is peachy white."
That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
So we all live tinted. And
but yeah, you know, that's the thing, is actually, even when we were coming out with our products, at first I was like, let's come out. We came out with 3 shades of color correctors, light, medium, and dark, for anyone, like your wife, if she had dark circles, she could use our lightest color product. And the thing is, at the beginning, I was so fixated on my problem and solving what I had and starting with that one shade that works for me. But then I realized, like, again, like, that's really short-sighted and not being truly inclusive. And there are plenty of Caucasian people who want to support the movement as well, right? Like, I choose to believe that people are good and they want to support. There are plenty of people, I don't focus on those people. And you would be really surprised how much of our audience is actually white people buying the products because they want to support what it stands for. And why wouldn't you want to give people that opportunity to support, you know?
Yeah, well, I will tell you this. I've been around a little bit longer now, and I believe at its core, everyone is good. We just have to worry about people that are hungry or sick. And hungry and sick people do bad things, but they're good people. And so we want to make sure that
circumstances make people out of character.
Yeah, we have to feed disease and we have to feed hunger. And, you know, I think that's a great focus. And you do that in an emotional and physical aspect. I'm so appreciative. Where can people find, I know you're at Deepika, but where else can they find you and Live Tinted?
Yeah, livetinted.com. We actually, I'm plugging it because I'm here for business.
Yeah,
we
good.
have a Black Friday sale happening right now, and it's our only sale of the year, 25% off on everything on livetinted.com. And that's where I really hope people go and check out right now.
I love the holidays. I love shopping. I got Christmas lights and decorations all over my neighborhood. And Black Friday now started on Monday. Things are just crazy.
We started on Tuesday.
2020 time is irrelevant. It's a man-made construct. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to have you on. Please join me again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye. Happy Thanksgiving. All right. The extraordinary Deepika Mutyala. And thank you very much. We're learning a ton today as I'm refocusing, doing my emails during lives. I wonder how many people had kind of noticed how many times I looked down got to get a little bit longer look there. Refocus was a justified. Anyway, let's take one more question. Trainings on Fridays on gratitude and Thanksgiving, a special Thanksgiving training, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. If you miss any of the trainings, they're all featured on Spotify, on Entrepreneur, on every platform. Check it out, the playbook. You can learn if you need the exercises, the guides to try out for the pitch show, Bloomberg, $50,000 of cash and prizes each episode. Do that. Search.dmeltzer.com. Check out search.dmeltzer.com. You can reach out directly to me, david@dmeltzer.com, or my text community, 949-298-2905, 949-298-2905. Remember, everybody, we're the day before Thanksgiving, and the best way to be thankful is to be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Have a